We all know Coach Burgess was the #1 recruited athlete in all of high school basketball. But he's not even the best athlete in his own family. His wife, Lisa, humbles him every single morning at CrossFit. She crushes him. And his daughter, KJ, is one of the top volleyball players in the entire country, and she's still only a sophomore in high school. That keeps Coach Burgess humble.
I love basketball. Started at a young age, watching my dad play. Well, I didn't play basketball because I was 6'11". I played basketball because I loved the game, and then I became 6'11". You know, I just love the flow of the game, the pace of the game, the energy of the game, and the energy of the crowd. That's why I love this game.
I've known who Chris is, like many basketball fans and in the sports world, by nature of his great career playing college basketball, professional basketball, and it started as a high school basketball player when he was being recruited as the #1 basketball player in America.
Out of high school, my final 2 schools were Duke and BYU.
1995, 1996, I was working for the Salt Lake Tribune as a college basketball writer, and I knew that Chris Burgess was a highly acclaimed LDS player out of Irvine, California, and I knew that BYU needed to land him. If they didn't land him, it was going to be a big blow.
BYU being coached by Roger Reed, and he recruited me really hard and had a great relationship with him and his staff, and ultimately I chose Duke.
So afterward, we were doing interviews with him, and it was me and 2 other reporters, and I waited until those 2 reporters were done asking Chris all the questions, and then I was right there, and I said, Chris, when you told Roger Reed that you were gonna go to Duke, how'd it go today? And that's when Chris, to his credit, said the truth, that it was very difficult, and Roger was upset, and Roger said that Chris was going to let down 9 million members of the LDS Church by choosing Duke.
For him to be somehow blamed was never the case, and for him to ever be castigated in our home or with my father as the coach, I mean, he has nothing but love and care and great concern for Chris, so it was kind of an interesting thing for sure.
You have to understand, BYU is a recruiting disadvantage. It's hard to get kids to want to go to BYU, particularly if you're not LDS. So one of the selling points that Roger had was the fact that this is your church school. Your church school needs you. Look at all the positive publicity, because Chris Burgess was a highly acclaimed high school star. And so Roger's thought, and I can see where he's coming from, is you come here, you're gonna do wonders for the basketball program, you're gonna do wonders for the LDS Church.
There's just an enormous amount of subtext that people should understand with Chris and the pressure that was put upon Chris, both internally with his own family and externally with a very passionate fan base at BYU who were hoping to see the #1 basketball player in America go there.
And I think Roger responded just out of his heart and his competitive spirit, and unfortunately for him, it blew up.
Being back here at BYU as an assistant coach, coming full circle, there's so much good came out of it, right? There's a lot of closure with the relationships I now have, not just with Coach Reed, but also with his sons. We now joke about kind of what went down back in 1996. There's so much love between their family that situation that kind of went on doesn't bother anyone anymore. We're just happy with how everything came about. When playing the game of basketball, just in life, there's a lot of adversity. You can't make everyone happy. Things didn't work out at Duke that I had hoped. Individually, collectively, they were fantastic. You know, got to go to a Final Four, and a lot of good came out of me transferring to University of Utah because, you know, I had a great career there. I met my wife there at the U, you know, and then being cut by the Suns my rookie year, you know, I was able to persevere and go play overseas and do well and see the world on another team and another club paying for my family and I to be out there.
I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew that when we got serious in our relationship, and I knew that he was gonna play in one way or another, I knew that we would be traveling at some point. But I didn't know it was gonna be all over the world. Obviously, neither did he.
Living overseas for 11 straight years, right, 10 months at a time, you get to see the world. I mean, I saw places from Istanbul to Dubai and Abu Dhabi to Seoul, Korea. In terms of adversity and pushing through it, I'm glad the way my career turned out because I am where I am today, both professionally here as an assistant coach at BYU, but also with my family.
From the beginning of Chris's career, we kind of made a promise to each other that we would stay together. A lot of players overseas don't do that. You know, the guy goes over and does his thing and the wife just stays, raises the kids at home. It's easier.
My wife was 7 months pregnant with our third child, and we lived in a small city 3 hours outside Istanbul where my wife ended up giving birth in a small village.
I didn't have any pain medication or any of that stuff. So it was painful and it was crazy.
After the delivery, she had to get a tetanus shot because all the equipment was sterile.
But it all ended up being okay. But I was just so furious that they didn't have a baby scale because I wanted to know how much my baby weighed. And eventually they brought out a bathroom scale and had me stand on the bathroom scale, and then they handed me Ava and was like, okay, each kilogram. So we still don't know exactly how much she weighed, but each kilogram, that's how much she weighed.
Coach Burgess is one of the great up-and-coming coaches in college basketball.
Just somebody that has a great attitude every day and somebody that, you know, everyone kind of wants to be around. He's also a really good basketball player still. He can really shoot the ball. He's got a better offense than me right now because he made more shots than me.
He doesn't forget what it's like to be a player, even as a high schooler. You can ask him what the score was of like a random game, and he'll tell you the score and who scored what and this.
There is not a player in America that will experience anything that Coach Burgess hasn't experienced himself one time or another in his basketball career. And so in that sense, and many others, he's an extraordinary coach, and we're lucky to have him here at BYU.
1, 2, 3. Family. 4, 5, 6. Fire.